All right, as we get started today, go ahead and have your desk cleared of everything except for a pencil and your speed drill booklets. Pencil and speed drill booklets. Open up to page 16 in your speed drill booklet. Page 16 at the bottom of the page, speed test number 36. Again, just a variety of basic math problems. You're using your calculators a lot for the work we're doing in the supplement. Want to make sure we don't forget how to do these basic processes. So you have some addition with decimals, subtraction with decimals. Notice they've already got the decimal lined up for you. Just keep it lined up. They got some fractions to add and subtract. Remember, to add or subtract fractions, class, you got to have a common denominator. So get that common denominator. For number 5 and number 6, you got, and 9 for that matter, you got some multiplication division, right? With fractions. Well, multiplying fractions, can we multiply mixed numbers, class? No, we got to change them to improper fractions. And do we ever actually, like in number 5, divide fractions?
No.
We multiply by the reciprocal. And there's some easier problems on there as well. Number 8. What kind of problem is number 8, class?
Division.
It's a division problem, right? That's what fraction bar means. So you're just dividing there by 8. You're going to have 3.5 minutes for this speed test number 36, and you may begin. All right, pencils off your desk. How about just a pen? Pencils off your desk. How about just a pen? And exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. Exchange with the person behind you, person in the back, bring yours to the front. A few people finished with a full minute to spare, so hopefully that's a good sign for them. Hopefully they didn't go too quickly. You don't recognize your writing versus his, huh? All right. Sign your name at the bottom of the page as the grader. Sign your name at the bottom of page 16 as the grader. You gave him the wrong one.
Yes. This is my book. This is somebody else's book.
Hopefully it's Joel's book.
Yes, it is.
It's okay. We all have those moments. All right. Speed test 36. These are 10 points each. Number one, not too bad, not too much to have to add up there. 98.44. 98.44. Number two, needed to add in some zeros so you could do your borrowing, end up with 12.444. 12.444. For number three, you get a common denominator of 24, end up with 41/24, which changes to 1 and 17/24. 1 and 17/24. For number four, we needed to borrow. We need to get a common denominator of 12, but we also had to borrow 12/12 from the 11. Make it 10 and 12/12 so we could do our subtraction. End up with an answer of 3 and 11/12. 3 and 11/12. Number five, when you change that to a 7/2 times 8/7, the 7's cancel clean. You end up with 8/2, which is 4. 4, our answer for number five. Number six, change that to a 3/2 times 3/5, ends up giving you 9/10. 9/10. Number seven was probably one of the longer problems on here. Should have $163.63. $163.63. If they forgot the dollar sign, just minus a point. Okay, if they forgot the dollar sign, just minus 1, don't mark the whole thing wrong. Number eight. Well, you know that 32 divided by 8, class, is 4, and 8 divided by 8 is 1, so the answer's got to be 41. That might have been one of the easier problems, though I think the easiest was number 9. Because the 7's cancel and the 6's cancel, class, we just get 1. Number 10 was a trap. Kind of like, you know, in Star Wars at the end of it, Return of the Jedi, and pull up, and all of a sudden they realize the thing's operational, the whole galactic fleet is waiting for it. It's a trap. They wanted you to cancel and put 0 on number 10, but it's not. -8, class, is -16. So hopefully you dodged the trap and put -16. They are 10 points each. Some of you totally lost the Star Wars reference. How many got me, though? You're Star Wars fans. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyway, not very many of you, actually. That's okay. It's a trap. Great memes out of that, too, by the way.
That's all I got it.
Anyway, 10 points each. Put the score in the score blank. And put it next to where it says speed test, speed drill 36. All in the speed drill book. We just have about, what, 4 or 5 more of these this quarter. So put it next to where it says speed drill 36 on the score page. Pass it forward to the owner. If you're at the front of the row, take it to the back. Pass it forward to the person in front of you. If you're at the front of the row, take it to the back. And let's see how we did on these. Were there any hundreds today? All right, any 90s? Just missed 1. Really good. How about 80s? Just missed 2. All right, questions on any of those? I talked through them, but does anyone need to see them worked? We need to see any of them worked out. All right, yes, ma'am. Number 4? Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to need to see it. It's been a little while since we've had to do this with subtracting the fractions. All of you, I know she was the one who asked, but all of you making sure you pay attention up this way. The first thing, of course, is the common denominator, because you don't know if you need to borrow or not until you've got it. You could use 24, but 12 is going to be the better way to go. Class, if we multiply top and bottom by 3, we would get 9/12. Now, it wouldn't be wrong if you had 18/24s, by the way, okay? And then here, multiply top and bottom, class, by 2 to get 10/12. Or, again, if you had 20/24s, that's not a problem either. But the point is, you can't subtract 10/12s from 9/12s. It can't be done. So we have to borrow from the 11, class, make it up. And the one we borrow has to be written as an additional 12/12. That gets tacked on plus the 9/12 we already had here. Really means, class, we have 21/12. Well, now we can subtract 21/12 minus 10/12 is 11/12. 10 minus 7 is 3. And that's how we would have done that one. Good question. Good other questions? All right, pass those forward now. If you would, please take out your supplements. Pass those forward and take out your supplements. Let's review some things as you're pulling those supplements out that we talked about over the last few lessons. We've been talking about a plan to spend money wisely. And what is that plan called, Bryson? A budget. And we said that when we budget, we want to account for everywhere we plan to spend our money. Now, obviously, some of the money we earn, we don't get to choose where it goes. Some of the money that we earn, well, the government's going to take some, or retirement accounts it automatically gets transferred to. So we really only want to budget, class, our net pay. But we had another name for the net pay as it relates to a budget. This is the income that is available to spend. But what was that term we used, Kirsten?
Disposable income.
Disposable income. It means the same thing as the net pay. It's just another word for it. Now we said that the first thing we need to make sure as Christians we account for in our budget is we want to make sure we don't rob God. We don't think of that very often, by the way, but you know in, I think it was the book of Habakkuk, the Israelites were being condemned by God. He was condemning them, and he said, "You've robbed me." And the people of Israel said, "How have we robbed God?" And he says, "Because you haven't been giving your tithes and offerings, and therefore I've cursed your land. You're having all these problems and all this judgment because you haven't given to me like you were supposed to. You've been robbing me." So we want to make sure we don't rob God. What is the portion that God expects of every Christian? What do we call it, first of all, Jalen? The tithe. In class, what is the tithe?
10%.
It's the first 10%. Now, we're in missions conference right now, and the whole point of missions conference, there's three aspects, I would say. Number one, does God want you to go? Right? We've got a great message. We've got the message that you don't have to go to hell. You don't have to live a hopeless life. How many, have any of you seen there was a Super Bowl ad from He Gets Us, that group He Gets Us. It was frankly kind of a lame ad. But there was a really good ad that didn't air. And somebody put it up on YouTube and said the ad that should have played, He Saves Us. And it was testimony after testimony of people who were in horrible lifestyles, witches, porn stars, drug addicts, gang members. They got saved. Their lives transformed, right? God saves us. And we have the saving power of the gospel we want to share. So God may want you to go. We also have the idea of, even if God doesn't want us to, quote unquote, go to a foreign mission field, right? God may not have that. That's not what God has for me. He has me here. Well, while I'm here, there's souls in Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Alabama that need to be reached. Does God want, well, of course we know God wants me to reach them, becoming more soul conscious. But third, what can I give? If I can't go because God hasn't called me to go, what can I give to help others go? Right? That's the third aspect. So giving above and beyond the tithe, certainly strongly encouraged. But the tithe is certainly something that needs to be first and foremost in our budget. There's also something that as Christians, we want to be responsible stewards. We want to be prepared against the day of trouble, so to speak. And so we do need to put money, class, into savings of some kind, right? And what was the minimum percent that experts recommend we put into savings? Luciana? 5%. So if we have 10% allocated for the Lord at least, more would be good, and then 5% allocated towards savings, that leaves another 85% of that disposable income that could go elsewhere. We also started talking about buying on time. Well, there was another term for it, and we called it installment buying. Because then we don't buy something up front. Maybe it costs too much. Most of us, maybe some of your families do, but most people don't have $30,000 just sitting around waiting for us to buy a car. Now, professional athletes do, and there's certain other occupations that do, but most normal Americans don't just have $30,000 like, you know what I should do? I should buy a car today. Most of us it's, I need to get a new car. I really don't have the money. And so we have to buy on time. Installment buying has the idea of making a payment every month, the same amount. It's easy to budget. But we take out a certain type of loan when we do installment buying. What's that type of loan, Ben? There's a really weird word. Well, we're going to have to make one of those on a big purchase. Griffin?
Amortized.
It's spelled out amortized. An amortized loan. Class, say that with me. Amortized loan. Again, Amortized loan. Okay, so we take out an amortized loan, and so that means every month we pay the same amount. Same amount. Same amount, Jalen. Keep paying the same amount every month. Well, as we make payments, the amount borrowed, what's the amount that we borrow, class? What's that called? Principal, right? The principal, the amount that we still owe, gets smaller and smaller and smaller because we keep paying it off. Well, if that gets smaller, then what else has to get smaller with it, class? Interest. The opposite, Kirsten and Luciana, the last time y'all were here, back last week, good to have you back, we talked about compound interest, right? Where you invest in something and it earns interest. And then that helps to earn more interest. And so your interest gets bigger and bigger every interest earning period, whether it's quarterly, monthly, annually, whatever. Well, this way the interest gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But if we're still paying the same amount, we're paying more toward the principal. And we're going to see that today a little bit better. But with the amortized loan, you make the same amount every time. Most of the time, when you make a large purchase, Jalen, they don't want to just amortize the full amount. They want a little something, something up front, right? They need a little of that money up front. So for instance, if you were buying a house, okay, they want a certain amount of money up front. They usually want 20%, by the way, up front. So let's do some easy math here. $100,000 house, which nowadays is not that big a house. Okay, back in my day. But anyway, $100,000 house is not that big a house anymore. House prices have really shot up. But if you pay 20% of that, what would that be, anybody? $20,000. Ooh, that's a lot of money up front, right? And so if you don't have that, then you have to buy insurance against that. And it gets sticky. It gets to a lot of money. So anyway, pre-mortgage insurance. Anyway, but they want a certain amount up front. When you buy a car, right? Most of the time they want a couple $1,000s up front because they want some money now. They'll get the rest from the lender, unless they are the lender. What's that amount that you pay up front for a large purchase before you amortize the rest of the purchase? What's that upfront amount called, Joel? Ooh, make sure you're paying attention. What's that upfront amount called when you make a large purchase, Corey? Griffin.
Down payment.
Down payment. What is it, Joel? Down payment. Corey?
Down payment.
What's a down payment, Joel?
When you go up front.
What you pay up front for a purchase. And then, again, you may not pay the whole thing, but you pay a certain amount up front. That's a down payment. Then the rest of it gets amortized. So on page 21 in your booklets, turn to page 21, we're going to work through an amortization table here. Have your calculators at the ready. You shouldn't need extra paper, just the calculator. I want you to follow along with me here. I'm going to tell you how to do this. And after several rows, you'll have figured out what we're doing here. So if Mr. Presley, Matt Presley, purchases a $5,000 piano. He buys it in July, but they say no payments for the first month. So he's not going to actually have to worry about making a payment then until August. Does that make sense? A lot of places will do this. You give us a certain down payment, but there's no payments for the first month. Some places, like car dealerships, will sometimes say, hey, no payments for 90 days. 3 months, I don't have to pay anything. That's great. All right? And so he'll make monthly payments for a year. He paid $1,000 down. Okay? So it was a $5,000 piano. He pays $1,000, class. How much does he still owe?
$4,000.
And that's why the very first box you see there says that the balance of the loan, the initial principal, is $4,000. Now, he's paying 18% interest. Now, if you're looking at the chart, you say, Mr. Nadasky, it doesn't say 18%. It says 1.5%. Right. Because every month, well, when we make monthly payments, class, what do we do with time? 1/12, or divided by 12. So what I did for you was I took his 18% and divided it by 12. Do that on your calculator real quick. Type in 18 divided by 12. And do you see that you get 1.5? So all I did was I already did the divided by 12 for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So we're going to say it's 1.5% interest. That way we don't have to worry about time. And so at your seats on your calculator, multiply 4,000 by not 1.5, but that's 1.5%. So class, 0.015. So multiply 4,000 times 0.015. Does everyone have 60 on your calculator? That's the interest he has to pay the first month. You do not have 60. All right, 4,000 times 0.015. Now we got it. Okay. So notice the next box, class. He owes the $4,000 plus he owes the $60. So you see that his balance plus interest now is $4,060. We understand that? And so every month he agreed to pay how much? $400. So he makes his $400 payment. Well, he owed $4,060. He paid his $400. So now notice his balance is only $3,660. Does everyone follow the chart? I will let you know when it's time to go, gentlemen. We got some basketball players. For those watching on YouTube, we got some basketball players who are headed out to the championship tournament in about 3 minutes. Okay, so hang tight, Michael. I know you're excited, but you need to pay attention for now. All right. So the new balance, $3,660, becomes the next month's balance. Do you see how it says $3,660 there? All right. Now, at your seats, take the $3,660, multiply that by 0.015. Now we're going to have to round this to the nearest cent. What is the interest in September going to be, Elaine?
$54.90.
$54.90.
What was it divided by?
Times 0.015. So, there you go. How many got $54.90? Write that in that box. Write it down, $54.90. Now, the next box is balance plus interest. So class, what we gonna have to do? Add what you already have on the calculator plus $3,660. And what is now the balance plus interest, Joel?
$3,714.90.
Good, $3,714.90. Well, we already know his payment, class. He's going to pay how much? $400 every month until the very last month. The last month, he's just going to pay it off completely, whatever he happens to owe, whether it's $400 or not. But it's going to be $400 every other month. So he pays his $400. So what you have on the calculator, subtract $400 from that, and that'll get you the new balance. What's his new balance, Kirsten?
$3,314.90.
$3,314.90. Now, that, how many had that balance on your calculator? Now, take that balance and put that as the balance in October. Start that off in October. Okay, you have got to add these two columns. Type it in quick. You've got to be fast, man. Life leaves behind those who are slow. What does the poster say over here? Even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. Life crushes slow people. I don't want you guys to get crushed. You've got to move fast. All right, so we have $3,314.90 in October. Now, at your seats, find the interest he's going to have to pay for October. Multiply by, class? 0.015. Okay, Bryson, what you got?
2002.
Uh-oh. No, we don't divide by 0.015. We multiply $3,314.90 by 0.015. Multiply the interest rate. And Michael, what you got while he's calculating?
$49.72.
$49.72. How many had that? All right, if you didn't, write it down now. $49.72. Write that in for the interest. Write down $49.72 right here. All right, so what do I have to do with that little interest amount, class? Add it on to the October balance. So since for the October balance we have $3,314.90, we're going to add those two numbers. And what's the balance plus interest now? We'll come back to Bryson.
Oh, $3,364.62.
Good, write that down. $3,364.62. 3364.62. Now, how much is he going to pay, class?
$400.
$400. So write that in. And what do I do with the $400?
Subtract.
Subtract it away, because he's paying that apart off. So he's paying off $400. So at the end of October, what's his balance going to be now? What you got, Ben?
$2,964.62.
Perfect. Excellent. Where do I write that number, class, now?
Balance.
In the November balance. So you write it two places. We have it at the end of October. It also starts November. All right, basketball guys, before you leave, questions. Do you understand? Actually, let me have Corey run through one real quick. I want to make sure you're good to go, and then I'll dismiss you guys. So, Corey, give me the November interest amount. Uh-oh, you haven't been keeping up. We mistyped before. There was a 3364.62. 3364.62 minus 400. Oh, it's got a weird fix on it. That's strange. Write this, I'm going to give you a fresh calculator. I don't know what you did to this one, but we're going to get you a new one. All right, so for November, write this number down, $2,964 and 62 cents. $2,964.62. Now, find me the interest on that. All right, what you got, Corey?
$44.47.
Good, $44.47. How many had that for the interest? $44.47. All right, now Corey, find me balance plus interest. Now that we got a calculator, it's not doing weird things to you. If your calculator's doing weird things, raise your hand so I can help you ahead of time. Don't flounder for 3 or 4 minutes waiting for me to catch it. Let me know. All right, what we got for balance plus interest now, Corey? $3,009.09. There we go. There. It's amazing how good a good working calculator can be, right? $3,009.09. Okay, Corey, he's going to pay how much? $400. So, what's his new balance at the end of November? And the rest of you check this number. Check the end number for November. Corey's going to give it to us?
$2,609.09.
Good, $2,609.09. Michael, you good to go? You got the process? Bryson, questions?
No, sir.
All right, you 3 guys may be dismissed. I'll email Pastor Adam and Mr. Coach Griffith the homework assignment. Don't worry about it until after the game, though. Go in there, focus on game, that kind of thing, and then after the game, y'all can work on the homework. All right, go play hard, play your best, right? Make this your best game of the season. Win or lose, make it your best game of the season. And hey, if we all play our best game, it might be a win. All right, head on out. Hey, excuse me. All right, so everybody's all to December now. We all got the 2006-09-09, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, how many's already found the interest on December? What's the interest on December, Luciana? You have not gone. You were kind of working with instead of working ahead. All right, she's finding it now. Ooh, something's not right. 2006-09-09 times 0.015. Oh, 0.015. That's the problem. Okay. What do we got there, Griffin? For December's interest?
$39.14.
Yeah, rounds to $39.14. How many got that answer for the interest? $39.14. All right, so when we add the interest plus the principal there with a balance there, where is that going to put us, Jalen? December's balance plus interest?
$2,648.14.
I got 23 cents. I think you forgot the 9 cents from December plus the 14 cents gives 23 cents. So $2,648.23. $2,648.23. Are you caught up with us now, Luciana? All right, obviously he's going to pay how much in December, class?
$400.
Because he pays $400 every month. And what's the balance at the end of December, Kirsten?
$2,248.23.
Good, $2,248.23. All right, keep working through. Oh, okay. You subtract 400. Something went wrong here. So it would help to use pencil. You've got the pencil out now. So type that number and subtract 400. But you've been doing really good. So you figured it out. We're on the roll now. Good. Tell you what, I'm going to let you kind of work on your own here unless you feel like you're stuck. Okay, I'll give you a number every so often to make sure we're on the right track. But if you feel stuck, raise your hand. I'll come by and help you. But if you feel like, I got this, I got the process down now, go and finish out the box. What I'm really interested in is, how much is his final payment? That'll tell me if you did it right or not. What's his last payment? Because it's not going to be $400. Good. Things a little off there, I'm not sure what. Let's take a look and see where things were. Got that. That was good. Oh, somehow when you added, you ended up with a 9 right here, and that should have been a 6. So this would have been a 2 and a 2, and that would have changed that number. So recalculate that. Let's use pencils, so if we have mistakes, we can fix them. So go with 2,248.23. .015. Your fingers were trying to move too fast. You didn't quite hit the 5. And 23 cents. There you go. Took it that time. So yeah, that number should have been 33.72. Alright, and obviously that's going to change the next number. So just take what you've got in the calculator and hit plus 2248.23. There we go. And then minus the 400 gives you the last number. There we go. Now we're back on track. Doing great. Doing great. Yep, doing great still. Good. We're doing good right here. Oh, the last 3 didn't take you. I typed in 30 and 72 cents instead of 33, so this would have been an 81. So this would also be an 81. So this would be an 81, so 1881.95 times the point. So back that up a little bit. There you go, 1881. Then you'll be right back on track again. Good. Good. I think. Let me double check. Yes, that is good. Good. Good, now we're cruising there. Yep, just about finished. Got one person almost done. Good. Joel right behind you, Lane. Doing great there. Good. Now, to be fair, you won't have to do these in real life, but you will see them in real life. And I just want you to understand the concept. So you're not going to be quizzed and tested doing this, okay? But I want you to have a really good understanding of how amortization works, because we'll see some numbers once we have the whole chart filled out. Be able to make some observations and learn some things here from this concept. Yes, all right. Got our first fast finisher, red, green, or blue?
Red.
Red. All right, got a green and a blue left for the next 2 finishers.
Oh. I think we ended it.
Yes, good, good. Yes, all right. Green or blue?
Green.
Green, all right.
Very
nice. All right, we've got, looks like a few people almost finished. I think it's probably going to be Griffin here. Yes, you made it now. 6 bumps it up. I'm going to give it to you. All right, so pause where you're at. Even if you're not quite finished, I just need you to write these numbers down, okay? In the payment column, all the way down to May, make sure they all say 400. Right now, just pause where you're at, all the way down to May, fill out 400. You can fill in the rest of the chart later if you want to go ahead and fill it out in study hall or something. Just make sure all the payments say 400 until June. For June, write this number down, $366.49. For June's payment, write down $366.49. Now that we've got that number there at your seats, let's figure out how much he paid for the piano total. Well, we've got a whole bunch of 400s here, don't we? Well, let's add up, let's count. How many 400s? At your seats, quietly count how many 400s do we have? Including the one that's printed, by the way, not just the ones you wrote. 1, 2. How many 400s do we have, class?
10.
10. So how much is 400 times the 10? 4,000. Plus, that last month was an additional $366.49, right? So how much did he make in monthly payments, class?
$4,366.49.
There we go. But he also made a down payment. How big was his down payment?
$1,000.
$1,000. Okay? So this was basically the sum of all his monthly payments. If you added them all up, we just figured if there's a bunch of 400s, why would I add 400 plus 400 plus, we'll just do times 10. When we add it all up, how much did he end up paying for the piano?
$5,366.49.
There we go, $5,366.49. Does everyone see that's how much he paid for the piano total? Now, how much was the piano supposed to cost him? $5,000, right? So, if you ended up paying this much, number 8, don't call it out, just write it down. What was his interest? And Kirsten, the name for the interest on an installment loan is sometimes the finance charge. It means interest, but we call it the finance charge. They charged you for the right to pay over time, use an installment plan. What was the finance charge on the loan? Luciana?
$366.99.
I got 49 cents. Yeah, $366.49. Ended up being that his last payment ended up being the total interest. But look at the interest amount, class. Do you see how the first month he paid $60 interest? Well, the next month he only paid $54.90 in interest. And the next month it's only $49.72. Like every month it drops almost $5-ish, right? About $5 or so less interest every single month until the very last month he was only paying how much interest?
$5.42.
$5.42, right? The month before was only $11.25 interest in May. So that means when he's paying the $400, the first month, $340 of it goes to pay down what's called the principal or the balance of the loan. The other $60 was interest. But in his next to last month in May, only $11.25 went toward interest. That means that $388.75, is that right? Something like that? Ends up going toward the principal, right? So you're paying down bigger principal and ending up with smaller interest every month. So when you buy your car and you finance the car and you're making monthly payments, your first month's payment is going to have a lot of interest built into it. But by the end, each payment's going to pay down the balance of the car a lot quicker, which is why you want to get it paid off quick as you can. All right, do we understand how amortization works, where you're paying over time, paying the same amount every month, usually until the last month when you pay things off, and you end up paying some interest there. Questions? All right, your homework for this evening. First of all, I want you to read over page 22. If you turn the page, there's only, 3 paragraphs. It's not much. But please read page 22 before tomorrow, because we're going to talk about lots of little percent numbers. And if you haven't read page 22, you're going to feel a little bit lost. And I don't want you to feel lost, right? And then on page 23, do numbers 1 to 15. Has nothing whatsoever to do with money. It's all algebra practice. Page 23, do 1 to 15. Page 23, do 1 to 15, and read page 22 over sales tax. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Question, Ben?
Yeah, so why does the milk in the picture look so dark?
Because the picture printed dark. It's just printer error. It's actually a white milk jug. It just looks dark. Sorry.
Yeah.
It looks like
a milk jug.
It looks like it's shadowed a little bit. All right, you're dismissed. Hey, I get credit for that, right, Luciana?